3210. Let me check the page.
Can you see
All
me?
right. Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see you just fine. And I have the pictures. I don't have music today.
All right.
I don't
It
have the
doesn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
We go with the flow. You
That's
know,
another. Yeah, that's another
yeah.
thing. Yeah. We just have to. It is what it is. Yeah.
It
I
is
just.
what it is.
Yeah, I don't have the capability today.
Yeah. I don't
So.
seem to see you, so but it's okay, I suppose. You know.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
here.
know why. I'm
Oh,
not.
let me ask you. Can you see that? Let's see. What do you see there? Can you see that?
I see camera connects to camera. Okay, so I'm connecting. I'm here.
Yeah, you're
Can you?
connected. Oh, wait a minute. There's another one of you coming in. You have two of you now coming in. We've got
Oh
one
my
down
God.
here. I don't know what to
Okay.
do. Huh?
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Let me see. Oh, wait. Okay, I got you. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Okay, how's that?
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah, yeah, it must have been on your end. I don't know. We
I
got
think
yeah, we
I
got
think it
30, huh? Yeah,
I think it was
we're just gonna
it
go
was
with
on my end.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what
So
happened. There was an anomaly. All right. So we have Tom Costels here and Aline, dear friend from Stavanger, Norway.
yes.
Jania Gazda, Deborah Denori from Jersey's here. Naveen Kaiser from Netherlands, Heather Houston, Katarina Sedner, Richard Simonites here. Youssef is here. Cleo Ferraro, Joanna Childs, Belinda Frank, Chrissy Johnson, Elfie Shantz, Carlina Antone, Marcy Duros, Giles Bookman, Agnes, Brent Ritchie, Lofty, and Stephen Nicholas. Okay, that's all I can do right now because they're coming
Uh,
fast. So yeah,
you've done very well.
I'm
So
I just spent the last because I thought it was an hour earlier.
yes,
Then
and
I
I thought
spent.
it was an hour later. So
It's okay. Yeah, I learned something I didn't know. Oh, hi Fabrice, how you doing? Deborah just said Fabrice is there. I forgot he's with her. I'm a little bit out of it, so you have to bear with me. Yeah, I
I'll
spent the
be with
last.
you.
Yeah, I spent. Well, I got up. I stayed up late. It's early for me over here, so
Mm-hmm.
I slept about 3.5 hours, which is all right. And then we didn't go on. So then I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I had to I laid down with
Mm-hmm.
the mother goddess energy. I had laid in a room, by myself. I didn't want to disturb Morgan, and I was just like, and I just had to lay there and say, what I was saying was I wasn't saying I need assistance here and I need assistance there. I found myself saying, assist me with
Mm-hmm.
this,
Mm-hmm.
assist me with that, and
Mm-hmm.
and the big thing was assist me with my balance in this moment because I saw a couple of things. You were just talking about this. I saw
Mm-hmm.
a couple of things when I got on and I was waiting for you on the first show.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't happen to me, but it probably has to do with that I didn't sleep much last night. And
Yeah.
I've done a lot of shows over the last 10 days, a lot of shows. And
Mm-hmm.
that takes a lot of energy, just like everyone's different type of work takes a lot of energy. So I saw a couple of things and it aggravated me. And I don't really get that way. So I was like, okay, that aggravates me. That doesn't make me feel good. And I didn't resist it. I just said that doesn't make me feel good. And I didn't like project it on to somebody else or focus on somebody else because it's always me, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I was just
Exactly.
like, that I saw something this person did or said, and I was like, um, it doesn't make me feel good. Which, what's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
long as I keep it in here. But I did reach out, and you were talking about. We're going to talk about what's been going on, what's coming up, what's
Yes.
happening. You were talking about that before we got online, and
Yes.
so I was like, you know, just basically saying, let, you know, assist me, assist me,
Mhm.
to just stay there and not, and not, and keep it here and allow it to, what does it do? I mean, I get that feeling comes in, I just keep it there. I don't send it outward either by my focus or projection or blame or anything like that. I just hold it in here, assist me balance, and then it just, I don't know what happens. I guess it transforms.
It does. And what I find, because, we've all been going through, and certainly I have found that many of the of my clients and even personally myself being triggered by something that that almost connects to the collective judgment, of an action that was not of a higher aligned to a higher frequency, you
Yeah,
know, and then catching it
yeah,
in time as it's occurring, catching it and finding myself not like you asking for assistance, but really dissolving it in the spiral,
yeah,
in that vortex
yeah,
of which is a little bit above the sternum of your heart,
yeah,
because we are all being reconfigured, really.
yeah,
And I mean, this is not a new thing. It's you have a beacon of a huge inner sun
yeah,
that shines from there. So it's like burning it like fire into that, and just really erasing and creating that story and that drama that you are about to attach to it.
mm.
It's you are just about to attach to it.
Yeah.
And
It's funny. Some a lady. God, I'm still kind of out of it.
yeah, it's okay.
Camille.
Mm,
First time she ever came on. A really cool lady came on yesterday, and she and been a practitioner for a long time, been awake for a long, long time. And so I asked her, "Hey, do you ever get, like, does anything ever happen to you?" And
mhm,
she said, "Yeah, like on Christmas Day, this past Christmas Day, she said, everything was fine. Christmas Day came and she locked herself in her apartment. She didn't want to see anybody. She cried all day. And she said, but the strange thing was, not the strange thing, but she said, but the thing was, here I was doing that. And then my higher self, I was there too, just watching myself. And that's how I would describe today. I would describe that. I think this is what you're getting at, or
yes.
what's happening with people. I would say I wasn't about to attach, and I'm only explaining this because
Mhm,
that's what we do on the show. I'm just explaining it
exactly.
because maybe that's what other people. So uh, I wasn't like I was gonna attach. It was like I used to attach, but I was actually watching myself. I was my human aspect was allowing myself to say that didn't make me feel good.
Mhm,
But I'm not putting that on anyone because it's really not anybody. But it's something inside of me, and I
mhm,
just sat with it, like you said, dissolve it. But at the same time, I was watching myself from up here.
mhm.
So yeah,
And I mean,
that
also it because it comes in. It's no so automatic now,
mhm.
that but it still allows the little time to
Yeah,
feel,
yeah,
because it's important. You can't just dissolve it, yes, you dissolving it, but you feeling it that you are dissolving it,
yeah,
you know and you allowing yourself to acknowledge that you had that trigger, that was in your field.
yes,
And these are the layers that are really coming up very strongly as mirrors or projections,
yeah,
for many, many, many people, and really flipping, people flipping out
yeah,
um, into I can't do this anymore,
yes,
and using
yeah.
these dramatic words, So
I've seen
um,
some. I've seen some. Because of the work I do, I
yes.
I've seen some people,
Hmm.
uh, and it's been more frequent, or it's been more noticeable. because there's been more of it. And I've noticed what you're saying about them. And what I'm saying is I've noticed that like they were in a certain pattern or in a certain place due to events or circumstances or whatever, or just interaction with others. And I watch them, they've come back. They've like stepped forward. And they haven't necessarily said, "Oh my God, I was wrong," or "I was over here," but they're just stepping over here. I'm not saying that about anyone in particular. What I'm really saying is, I think that's what you're also saying is, it's like collectively we're moving, we're stepping up, you know, into this other place. Yeah, and the judgment thing is, or the lack of judgment thing is, or the lessening of the judgment thing, particularly self-judgment, seems to be slipping away. So it is more of an observer thing.
Yeah, it is. And then it's surrendering that, you know, and moving the energy from your multidimensional selves that are in that high frequency field that form a collective field, and expanding it out, you know, expanding it out, creating an explosion almost from within the core outwards, which transmutes whatever else might be, you know, in an imbalance, and it harmonizes it. And there's a lot of that taking place, but quite quickly. You know, it's just a new dynamic. You know, and
it is quick.
It is quick. So,
and now that I'm thinking about it, because you brought up what we're about to step through, and but I remember, I want to say it was like maybe from the solstice up until maybe, you know, the first 5 or 10 days of this year, I saw, and then we've seen it before, but I saw a lot of people flipping out. They were like writing stuff. They're like, you know, like they were blasting, and not necessarily people, and just they were coming out saying, "I don't feel good. F this, da da da," you know, and really just expressing themselves in a really extreme way. But I saw many of them come back and say, "Hey, I'm glad that's over, but I'm going to leave it up there." And then also acknowledging people that would come in and say, "Hey, it's okay. It's going to be all right. Breathe." And now I've seen that kind of shift. Now it's a little bit different. It's softening. You know, it's softening, and
it's softening, and people they can flow easily into their inner standing, into their inner space, and acknowledge and own it, you know, and take that responsibility for it. And as soon as that takes place, it's 50% of the way, because the rest then comes automatically, basically, you know. And so it's a powerful time that we are going through, and I think it's certainly, I've been feeling a big build up into a huge breakthrough, not only planetarily, you know, interplanetarily, you know, but also within the human templates, you know, with the human gateway, which is in process. It's evolving. And there's actually a match. There's actually a match of it. So we are mirroring the same movements.
Yeah, that's what you know. Let me just say this, and then lead into this thing about a gateway and the preparation before it, because after that first eclipse on the 6th, Morgan started saying, "Hey, we're being like stripped. The final stuff is coming off, you know, coming up, coming off, transmuting, whatever, in preparation before we can walk through this gateway," which people, you know, were referring to as what's happening on the 20th and the 21st. So we had, I don't know if you saw it, we had, what was it, 2 nights ago, we posted the pictures. She posted the pictures on both our walls, right? Of this door that appeared above the house we're staying in. Did you see that?
No, I did not. No.
Yeah, there was these clouds. The moon was
Yes.
over here, you know, but there were a lot of clouds, and there was this black doorway that appeared over the house that we're staying at. And it stayed there, and the clouds would move across it, and it would stay there. And there was a light that was on top of it or on the other side of it that was emanating on one side of it. That was not coming from the moon, right? So
Yes. Yes.
she put up about, I don't know, 30 pictures of it.
Mm.
And it was the response was amazing. With people, some people had even said they saw it in their third eye, they saw it in dreams. Somebody last night said that they actually caught the same picture. Somebody posted a picture of the same looking thing from a different date. And we looked at that, and it was also multidimensional looking.
Yes.
It had depth to it.
Mm.
And so we understood that it was a doorway.
You know,
And
it is a
yeah,
doorway.
yeah. So we understood that, and we were so excited that night that we didn't because there was a lot of stuff going on. We didn't ask, what is it, you know, or to communicate with it. So the
Yeah.
next morning, yesterday, we got up around 10 in the morning, and we were just talking, well, why don't we have a session? So we had a session. And the interesting thing is that the mother goddess energy came in and said, let me show you what this was. And so took us to Saturn, and there
Yes.
was the same door, or the same door portal into multiple more dimensions
Yes.
was there. So we went through it, and then we were in the cosmos, but it was a different universe. And it looked a lot like ours, you know, when you look up in the night sky, except for all of the celestial bodies had these very bright, distinct colors, like reds and greens and blues, and you know, and they were, instead of looking at white stars or bluish white stars. Then it went on to say that there was basically 12 planetary objects there, and each one of them had unique attributes, you know, unique attributes. And this is going back to what you were saying about the matching or the mirroring.
Yeah.
So what happened was, the message was that we had stepped through, we being all of us, had stepped through a doorway.
Yes.
And that this doorway was, you know, in essence, another universe. And all of the things available there were now inside of us. And it was less of a star family thing, and instead more of a direct connection to the consciousness of these planetary objects in particular, and all the celestial objects in that universe, and that we didn't even really have to reach for them. They were actually opened in all of us. So it was very, very interesting. And what you said about the mirroring or the matching was a big part of it, was that, you know, it's actually been opened up in all of us. So it was very interesting. And so getting back to what you said about gateway.
Yeah. So that
go
gateway is really a gateway. You know, if you take a scan of the human vessel, which you know, that was received on the phone, you know, and the gateway is shown and demonstrate, you know, you can see the clear gateway right in the middle of the, you know, you're a little bit above your sternum, but also covering your sternum, you know. So, and if you look at the interplanetary with your third eye, or your fourth eye, basically, you are able to go through the very same gateway, just like you've been in multidimensional space, in interstellar space, really, and connecting with gateways in each planet of the same kind, sort of, you know, exponentially. You know, it's like it's a multiplication of gateways that are appearing, and all that is then being re-emerged within. So
Yeah.
we're collecting that. Everything is collected, and it's then descends. Basically, it's almost a descension, but it's not a descension. It's an implosion in of that.
Yeah.
And that is really taking place in the broader sense. So that yes.
Another thing that has really been in my ears, or in the messages that we've received, because especially we've been back over here together since December the 7th, but the last, I don't know, since the 10th, has been in this pause between the two eclipses, right? In the preparation, as you were calling it, has been trust. Has been a big one. Just trust, and you're losing tomorrow as you've lost yesterday. There is no tomorrow as there is no yesterday anymore.
Yes.
And there's like this force, I don't mean in a bad way, but this force anchoring you to the present moment, like it's never happened before. Like you can't even look to tomorrow, like it's totally in the now. And that is taking some getting used to.
No, it is. I mean, I was just going to bring that in. The trust that you are divine. It's one source, but it's now. There is no other place. In fact, those other places have collapsed completely, and you can't go back and you can't go forward.
Yeah.
Also, so this hijacks basically all collections of stories, all creations of stories that might arise,
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't really matter whether you can't remember the inception of creation, or what the source is, or what the concrete reality is. It's you are in that moment, moving from one field, from one doorway to another, and surrendering self in full trust and faith, with your real self. You are with your real self, with that original self, so it's like you are in a place of purity. I really, it feels to me that place is so pure and so full of light, that there's so much joy, and at the same time also so much wisdom, and that whatever transformations are taking place within your body, and within the body of Gaia, which is really, they are immense transformations taking place. It's all going to be, it's perfect as it is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I think the other thing, and again, this is not about Todd or Morgan or Yukia.
Yeah, no.
What seems to be very apparent is this is a collective thing. There's mounting evidence by, each moment, and that is that resistance is going away.
Yeah.
The conditioning or the resistance that came from the conditioning that we went through in these incarnations is going away. Well, if resistance is going away, what's the opposite of resistance? It's allowing.
Allowance.
And that accepting. Yeah. Like I talked to Angie Parker yesterday in a spontaneous show. She had been living in Southern Oregon for a long time. She had her awakening and went over there and created this 5 or 6 year period in her life where she, what we've all been doing.
Yes.
Well, then she was planning on, and she was right at that moment that so many people were at the end of the year, before this preparation started, before this period started. She says, well, I'm going to go to Hawaii. I'm going to go start a coconut farm. I don't have any money, but the magic's been working, and I'm going to go test it. And it all sounded good, but in her heart, she had this feeling she wanted to be with her son, who she'd kind of not seen too much over 4 or 5 years, who was living with a girlfriend in another part of Oregon. And the next thing you know, he calls her on the phone, says, "Hey, why don't you just come stay with us? We got an extra room." And so I forget where I was going with that. I'm still not with it, but it was related to what you were saying.
Yeah.
I can't
The
remember. Oh,
trust
it'll come back.
and the
It'll
faith,
come back to,
you know,
yeah, yeah. But it was
that
something about,
that whatever.
yeah, it was something about, what she definitely was saying was how, everything has like come into herself, right? Like
Mm,
it's about what's right for her. She even said, "My heart is my new mind." So I
mhm,
don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know
mhm,
where I'm going to go. I don't know anything. I just know that each day I'm taking care of me, and she's watching it expand to those things around her. And what I
yeah.
was going to say, the reason I had brought it up, these this son and his girlfriend that's living with her.
Mhm,
I asked her. I said, "Now these people are from another generation. Do they look around and say something is going on in this world?"
mhm.
And
Yes.
she said yes. They just don't use the word ascension. They don't say it the same way. They say it a different way, and they have a little different perspective, but they definitely see it going on. And that's, I think, the other thing I'm trying to get at is that
Mhm,
it's what did somebody say toward the last year, end of last year on one of the shows? They said everybody's awake. They
mhm,
just, some people just don't look, don't talk about it, and they don't want to, they want to deny it, or not even think about it. Yeah,
mhm. No, but I've also found that even with normal people, that you meet on the street or you have a conversation, there is this higher awareness, coming through, not using the words we use, but
yeah,
using um, other expansive words. But certainly the word energy is used a lot. The energy today is expansive. We did not see this before.
yeah,
We did not hear this before. So there is something going on, and there is something going on that is coming in these portals of the 20th and the 21st. That is more close to the 22nd, I would say. That is it's really going to blow our minds. Completely.
yeah,
In terms of an awakening, a mass awakening, a switch on,
yeah,
that's going to make catapult this higher awareness that there is much more to what it seems,
yeah,
in this place called Earth, as we interact with each other, and that we are seeing it
yeah.
daily, and
And that,
um,
with the 17th, I read from the 17th through March the 5th. Several people posted it.
yes.
There's no planets in retrograde. Now I don't even watch that stuff, but that just sounds like a hell of an opportunity. There's no planets in retrograde from January 17th to March the 5th. That's not a coincidence. And I didn't even know this. I read this yesterday. Well, I
Yes.
knew there was a second eclipse on the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I knew that, well, it was called a a blood moon and a wolf moon or something like that. But then
Yes.
yesterday I was reading it's also a super moon.
It's
So
a
it was
super moon,
explaining,
yeah.
yeah, it's a super moon, red blood or whatever, and it's an eclipse all at the same time, basically.
Yeah.
So
So, I
that,
mean, this is a massive cosmic
yeah,
central light impulse that's going to be coming through throughout all creation,
yeah,
basically. And and the solar flashes reports are
mhm,
reflecting this too.
yeah,
You know, they reflecting off the charts frequencies, but they also the planet Earth itself is reflecting a split in the poles. Hmm? So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
did you see that?
No, no, but it was funny. Last night, which was the night after that happened, was last night.
Mhm.
I went out after a show, and it was starting to get to be about the same time it had happened the night before, and I noticed the colors started coming back. It was kind of a blue in the sky, and the clouds were looking about the same, and the moon was over here, and I thought, I wonder if it's going to come back. And I think Morgan had taken a nap. She got up. We walked back out later, and everything had changed. It was like there was like a it was a certain way, and then everything just kind of like there was this eerie stillness. And what I was thinking was what you just said, but I couldn't put it into words. It was almost like there was a pole shift in that moment, because everything kind of went like a pause. And then we went back later, went outside, and everything had gone to shifted again. And that kind of, for me, was like a little microcosm of what you're describing, like almost like the space between breaths. So you know
yes,
that pause.
Yes.
And
then and it is like very recently, 2 days ago, we had a communal call, a community call, basically, of light language workers, grid keepers and gatekeepers. We got together to do to prepare for this gateway, to prepare to heal the oceans, to heal the earth, to weave the grid codes that were necessary to balance this new pole split that is upon us, because it's happening as we speak. It's happening. And it was very interesting, connected to Hawaii, because the golden dolphins of Hawaii, of the big islands, there's a pod, like an energetic pod, of golden dolphins that I really experienced grid makers, let's call it this way. They are catalysts for any big shifts that happen. They work very much as catalysts for shifting energy, and to avert imbalances in the planet, and because we have the split occurring, the imbalance is in the field of potentials. So the dolphin aspects of ourselves, because many of us have been dolphins and have got dolphin energy, and as a frequency, got activated with the knowledge and the knowingness to how to weave the grid of balance and equilibrium, to harmonize the pole split, so that the pole split could interface with new open potential portals and stargates that would create an harmonic resonance. It was very much a sonic experience. And there were 21 online. Wow. Which it's the energy of 3, so the trinitization of it that gathered. There was very much triple helix energy, in the grids that were weaved, and beyond that, the infinity spiral energy that then was woven as a result of the completion of the activation that took place. And when the light languages activations and coding started coming in from the different people in the group, I could see the fields and the source light coming through, and anchor that not only in our ancient oceans, but also in the power grids around the planet. And one of the focus points that we were guided to work from was the temple of the pyramids in Tiwanaku in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
That PowerPoint. So they call it the place of the gods. And so it was like a spiral within that pyramid that took in beams all over the planet, and and then into the seabeds.
Yeah.
It was a very beautiful energy. The grids that followed in terms of design art technology that came out were also indicative of the pulse, the pulse split, and what is the movement that is as potentials and new perspectives for the planet that might take place as a result of this shift. This split. So the grids that were appearing reflected the different possibilities. And when guidance came to ask, what is really going to be the end, there's no end product as such. Everything is in movement. It's in flux. It's like we are only in this moment. So we can't even go into end product because there's no end product. No. We are just being guided by this purity of the selfless service, that many people are standing up and taking their seats, I've noticed, and doing it with complete devotion. I don't have another word for it, but it's devotion. And, also there's a smart, active intelligence that's coming in that is, because it's not aligned to separation, it is inclusive. It's like unity. It's inclusive. And the trust and the heart, the art intent that's always there. But what I'm also finding is a lot of people getting so hyped up in this movement, that's taking place. It's like a momentum. It's a momentum that's taking place that they are making. They are activating movements forward, trusting it forward into a big, great macro scenario without yet integrating what is happening at the moment. I'm finding that's coming through many. From the collective. If I look at collective energy and collective frequency and collective pods. You look at collective pods around the world and take a scan of that.
That forwarding is.
It's a forwarding,
Yeah, and it's like it kind of came to me a couple of days ago, and Morgan had written this post about what we've all been through in terms of how people project, right? That it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with. It had nothing to do with us.
No, absolutely.
It had to do with them, and so. And with these things that were happening around us, I said it just came in. It's like, well, we're projectors. We're projectors, and now we're becoming conscious projectors. So now we're like getting a handle on it. So that those pods that you were seeing, those different scenarios that you were seeing, it's like we're starting to get a handle on this manifestation aspect, this creation aspect. And the other thing that I picked up on. For at least on a personal level, and I believe that so much of what we've been doing, all of us have been doing this. So we share these things because somehow or another, in the individual experience, there's a collective parallel relation, and that is that the Earth itself, Mother Earth herself, has everything we need. In other words, we seek out here in the celestials, in the cosmos, and in the multi-universe, and when we can actually get everything, just as we everything is in us, everything is in her. And so there's like maybe beyond this tipping point, or as we walk through this new Stargate or whatever you want to call it, gateway, that's a central power that we're closest to. That has all the miracles of the universe, all the magic and all the alchemy and creative abilities, and we're standing right on it.
Yes, and that's what was called you know, in this activation, the place of the void, you know. So we are accessing now much more often, you know, the place of the void. So we are mastering that place, that template, which is outside time space.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And so there is a bridge, you know, it's a bridge between that place and the place where we are with this. There is still time space in so there's a bridge of time almost.
Yes.
And that's all within the miracle, as you said. It falls within the miracle.
Yeah.
You know, and it creates one united field, you know, in that bridge, you know, and that all. So as we cross all the time this bridge, you know, we bring in from that space, you know, all the new grids, the new crystalline grids, the cosmic hologramic of the universal unity, you know, the new way to interact, the new coding for the new human template, that the rebalancing of the hemispheres, you know, of the brain of the planet and the brain and our own brains, which are completely changing, you know, bridging the brain, the higher brain with a higher art, with your sacral, and making it a beacon, you know, where you become just this inner sun, that you interact with that void space and you bridge, you come in and out. Yeah,
I think too that you know, as we've been kind of going through this, as we do everything really together, Morgan and I, it's been apparent, especially because I represent the masculine journey and vice versa.
Yes.
There seems to be some kind of a lot of emphasis in this, on the threshold of crossing into this gateway, on the masculine. On the masculine, I don't want to say the new masculine, but the sacred masculine, the real masculine. And what I've noticed in myself is that as certain things happen over the last few days, be it like in a session, or we feel energies coming in, or something's about to happen, feeling intense, and obviously non-sexual, you know, but sacred sexual. But when you said about the heart and the sacral, feeling intense energy in the sacral. And it's like, and I know it, I can feel it. It's the real masculine sacred sexual energy engaging what she has already discovered in herself. So in other words, it's happening inside, and it's actually affecting the physical body, all the bodies, and the physical having been the last one. So, and again, I know that's not unique to me, and I know it's a representation, and it's in all of us. So that is a real powerful you know, validation to me. That's like, oh my God, we're actually, as a planet, this is actually that balance we were trying to search for, that needed that masculine energy that needed to come up. So then again, the feminine can move back up, you know, and the expansion continues. But that's been something that to me really felt like it was collective.
That's something that has come through a lot. That there's a masculine, that that in the masculine there's been, it's almost, you know, I see images all the time, you know, so it's like a rebirthing, you know, it's a rebirthing through that sacral, and in that rebirthing there is an harmonic equilibrium, you know, graceful, you know, and there is a diffusion almost of the primal pulse, you know, that was the dynamic in the old matrix. So there is like a collapse of that, and then there is an innovation, and then there is an upgrade of the energy and it's centered really very much on the heart. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yes.
feeling
Yeah.
the soul, it's feeling the heart, it's feeling the soul, but through that sacral part, too, because these are all working in conjunction. You've got your sacral, you've got your heart, and you've got your higher mind, because it's taking the love frequency, and the interaction with the feminine energy through these trinity points of the heart, the higher heart, the higher mind, and the sacral, and making it as and synchronizing it, like the golden dolphins put it, when they were synchronizing. They were synchronizing the planet.
Yeah, I like that.
They called it cosmic synchronization, and there's a cosmic synchronization within the masculine. But I've also found the thought within the feminine too. You know, a feeling of birthing, certainly taking my personal experience, the personal experience of this vessel, feeling a pressure on the sacral as the changes were taking place, and a birthing of these eggs, many eggs, you know, were being brought. Not one egg, many eggs were being brought, and then there was one big egg that then, from the many eggs, one big egg actually was birthed, you know. So which is that unity, which is the result of the synchronization process and the unification process, where both energies really rebalance, reunify, resynchronize, create, you know, and then ascend, you know, because this is all a descension, basically. And then you have the ascension taking place, and then boom, you know,
it's like a yo-yo
explosion. It's like a yo-yo, exactly. That's exactly the movement. And then your explosion, and you can actually feel that when you're interacting with people that are nearly in that are doing that too. You feel the difference, you know. It's been an experience feeling the difference, you know, of someone interacting with someone that is doing the same, but unconscious, you know, but going through the same changes, and at the level of perception, maybe feeling it a little bit, but not understanding and saying, what's going on in my field? I mean, I had someone saying, I feel so bloated in my solar plexus suddenly that I feel I'm pregnant, and this is a man, okay, and or I'm, you know, my boob, I nearly have boobs now, you know, because you know, there's something happening, you know, and I'm changing, you know, this is you know, or I feel I birthed something, but you know, out of my body.
You know, we had another, or may have been part of the same session, I don't remember. And again, this is a you know, how we receive stuff, any of us, you know, is it metaphoric, is it, you know, well, who knows, because it's not there's no words.
No, there's no words.
In this session, in this shared communion, there was we went up in our higher selves and called in all of our multidimensional aspects. And so the higher selves were standing in the center of a big circle, and around the perimeter of the circle was made up of all the aspects. So then I saw the human aspect of Todd and Morgan, very small, in the circle, and like everybody was viewing it like you would through a TV. You know, it was like a prism, like looking through a telescope.
Yes.
And again, this is a energetic representation of how I received it.
Yes.
Of the feminine and the masculine on the purpose or the means of this, what we might call mission. Okay, this experience. So what happened was, in that prism, in that
Mm-hmm.
elongated like rectangle that everyone
Mm-hmm.
was looking at, them on
Yes.
Earth, all of a sudden she started to get really big because all these aspects obviously were much bigger than the two little humans.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she's coming up in this prism into this huge, even bigger than all the aspects,
Mm-hmm.
and a very regal, very definitely very multi-dimensional, uh, fully engaged, fully complete, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
understanding is that that energy, she
Mm-hmm.
came into this realm in that state already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where he uh, was still small, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now she's in the prism.
Yeah.
She goes
Yes.
to full stature. The prism disappears. She's holding his hand, and then
Yes.
he starts to grow. But
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is that his he was very much like, okay, like in my form,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't translucent, but
Yes.
the skin had all of these rainbow ribbons of color all through it, so it was like alive. The skin was like alive, and it was vibrant. And
Yes.
what I was getting was that it was like a birth, like you were talking about. It
Mm.
was like a
Mm.
birth. It was like a new species. It was like the object of, or the means, or the way to the means to the way, the means to
Yes.
the end. And so the whole thing, to sum it up, was that that feminine energy came down here with the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of assisting and leading and guiding the masculine through a transformation, which the whole
Yes.
entire objective of the universal mission was to expand
Mm-hmm.
creation, and this was the
Mm-hmm.
plan. So when I
Yeah.
look at that thing and I think, okay, well, you have the masculine, the feminine, and then the third energy,
Mm-hmm.
the golden child, or the whatever that
Yes.
is,
Yes.
this figure I was seeing was actually representing both in some way. and,
Yeah.
and I could see that, and that again was something that was not directed at us. It was just how we received it. That's happened on a collective level, and so I look at this threshold, this gateway that we're walking through. It's a huge, and I've seen some people say it on the shows over the last few days before this even happened,
Yes.
that this is marking the presence, not just the
Yeah.
rise, but the actual presence of the arrival of that masculine energy. And
Yeah.
what happens from there is then she boosts up again,
Yes.
and then he comes up, and then she boosts up again, and the
Yes.
expansion continues.
The
So
expansion continues. Yeah.
yeah,
And but there is,
phenomenal,
yeah, but there's,
phenomenal. Yeah,
yes, it is, and there is a synchronization that is taking place, very much
yeah,
steady
yeah. I
synchronization.
like that word.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like synchronizing, uniting, and then recreating. It's recreating, synchronizing, uniting, and
yeah,
then it's like a dance. It's
yes,
almost
yes.
like a dance,
Yes,
and
yes. And the
it's
dolphin, but the
yes.
dolphin dance, to more to me like a dolphin dance than the human dance, or like those synchronized swimmers in the Olympics.
Yes, yes, it's like a dolphin dance,
And
very much, because
I tell you one other thing that I'm moved
yes,
to mention, because of what you had written to me the other day about coming to Hawaii, which I don't
yes,
know if we would be here or
yes,
not. That doesn't even
yes,
matter.
I know.
Is that we have had, of course, coming over here, and again, this is not about Todd and Morgan. It's about something that's happening collectively,
Yes,
markers or something. I don't know. So I was moved to come here. It was really inexplicable from a human standpoint. It's not, from a human standpoint, a stable type of thing, but
mm-hmm.
it's a very much been in other words, we know we're supposed to be here. It's been in our face, regardless of
Yes,
how this thing has gone. But what I'm getting at is there's been just an absolute, unarguable, uh, Lemurian connection, like
yeah,
almost like parallel. Like it
mm-hmm.
started here and it's paralleling here, and they're like connected. And when you said the thing about the bridge, this was one of the things that had come in, and I was trying to explain it to her what I was seeing.
Yes,
I said, it's not like a bridge. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
here's where it started, here's where it is. And it was like a clasp. It was like a locking, like,
Yeah.
picture a
Yes.
drawbridge,
Okay.
and it comes down, when the boat goes through and then it
Yes.
comes
Yes.
down
No.
so the cards can cross, and it locks.
It
And it was
locks
like a
again.
lock. And when you were talking about that bridge,
Yes.
I kind of see that the same way, where the conscious projector, the conscious divine human, has locked into that other multidimensional universe,
Yes. It
with
is
all its attributes, which is now
available,
in us. Yeah,
fully open and available within us.
yeah,
So
yeah,
to interface out,
yeah,
and it's an amazing time. It's the expansion of it. I think it's really, I can only use the word mind blowing because that's what this vessel is really feeling, and interacting. Having interacted also with these golden dolphins pods, and seeing all the pods that
yeah,
around the world doing the same. The pods, that they are us. It's not outside of us. They
yeah.
us.
Yes,
So
that's. She was saying last.
it's just
I said, I said, they're coming, and she said, "You mean we're coming?" I said,
yeah,
but there's another
yeah.
thing that you said too, which
Mm,
just popped in my head. As we can, look at the micro, the
yeah.
etherical, the different bodies, the mental, emotional, the
Yes.
physical, and then the integration of it. So you were talking about how it's now, how
Yes.
the now is motion, right? Spiritual inertia
Yeah.
that moves unencumbered, and we're the projector, right?
Yeah.
So I notice, and this shows a perfect example, this particular broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that the broadcasts are evolving. They always
Yes.
have, but I've always said, it's spontaneous, creative, intuitive, imaginative. I'm not even really knowing why I'm saying it to the full degree, but now I see it. If I look at this particular broadcast, if I look at Marita last night,
Mm.
even Camille yesterday, that's
Yes.
as far as I can remember. Each one of those, there was no pre-planning, there was no
Yes.
discussion, there was just this conversation that is that now motion,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and that's it. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing else. There's no tomorrow, there's no planning, there's no yesterday. It was just about, I pulled your pictures up, I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
any music, we haven't done
Mm-hmm.
any light language.
Yes.
This is the language, right? I
This
mean,
is
it's
the
just
language,
that
because this
motion.
is what's flowing at the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah,
and this is what we are exchanging. This is what's imploding from
yeah,
the center of our universes.
yeah,
That as we interact, um, something interesting that's also happening, and it's gonna exponentially be more expanded, more. You felt, in a stronger way, I would say, is really this awakening of these DNA strands, dormant DNA strands.
yeah,
Mm. But we're talking, like many at the same time.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
of where all light codes,
yeah.
that are coming through this, the Leo full moon, because it's a Leo full moon, which
Is that why I've
is
been seeing
we,
Lyrians everywhere?
yes, Leons everywhere. Yesterday I had an episode. Went to visit some friends of mine, and we had a lovely lunch. And I was just sitting around, and I was talking to the cat. The cat was, and I was speaking, whispering to the cat. And I was with a friend of mine, Evelyn, and she says, "Are you speaking Lyrian?" And I said, "Yes, I'm having a conversation in Lyrian with a cat," and because the cat was transferring information, and it was really, very attentive.
Yeah,
I could see the transmission of coding,
yeah,
that was taking place.
yeah,
You know, and felt the feline energy very strong, as I feel that, of course, the dolphin energy very strong, but the feline energy is very much present during this passage that now we're entering the Leo full moon. So, and the constellation of Leo is big, many stars, many galaxies, and so it's all about that abundance and that divine love, that joy, that free flow, you know, the strength of love, you know, but the strength of the group community, you know, of that love, you know, like almost a light bulb and a light source illuminating and igniting it and aligning everything suddenly, you know, like flashes. Yes, it's and everything that is negative with that type of energy just gets melted away. You know,
it does. It does,
and it's only divine will that will move. You know, as we interfacing with each other and within our higher dimensions, because that's another thing that came to me, you know, in my dream state last night. Yes, it was actually last night, seeing a picture of everyone in all the higher frequency aspects of themselves, you know, and actually making holding circles and holding each other's hands. I actually saw this, you know, many concentric circles, you know, many concentric circles, and in that whole idea of separation just non-existent. Just
and
non-existent.
I think so, and I think that's another thing that's you're starting to be able to actually see through the physical / etherical as they're merging, is that whether they're conscious of it or not, we're conscious of it or not, people are starting to see that. You know, what we talked about at the top of the show, where people, including myself or yourself, whoever, were stepped over here, and then it, like you said, the universal truth, the divine love, the will would not allow that. It falls away. So now they step over here, you know, into a higher truth or whatever. But yeah, I think people are starting to give each other a break, you know, if you want to put it in human terms. And see that oneness and divinity. Yeah. You know what? I'm getting like really hot. Over the last couple of days, we get like really cold and really hot,
that's another thing that I wanted to share. It is cold frequencies. Like sometimes it's a cold frequency comes in, but really ice cold, and then there is a hot frequency coming in.
Yeah, I'm getting one right now. So every time this has been happening, something starts happening again. So I'm gonna go. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel funny, you know, but I feel
it's something is being activated. So you know,
I feel really hot. I feel like, and what reminded me of it is two nights ago, or 2 mornings ago, right before I got up to do the first show, I was having this lucid dream, and I can't, like, you know how when you go to a restaurant or a diner and they have that crushed ice, you know, that crushed ice that. So I had all this crushed ice, and I had this glass, and I kept stuffing the crushed ice, fully pack it into this glass, and then I would pour water in it, and then it would all melt. So I would put the ice back in, and it kept melting as fast as I was putting it in. I thought, what the hell is that? But that kind of describes what I was talking about, what you're talking about. It's like it's really cold and then really hot, and there seems to be some type of connection with that happening, and some, you know, seeing, you know, visible or feeling something changing in the air, in myself, in the universe, whatever.
It is you have, it's like an etheric tuning up, you know, with the universal pulse of that space that is now our space, because we've claimed it, you know, that space that called the void, you know,
Yeah.
outside time space.
Yeah.
It's now we claim that space.
Yeah.
So that space, you tune into that space. When you tune into that space, you before, what I've noticed, you feel this very nice and very hot going on, you know, in fellowship.
It's a tuning up by turning up. Turning us up, you know. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, and I see people saying the same thing. So yeah, again, you know, it's not unique to any of us.
No,
We're all, you know, it's happening everywhere. So
yeah.
well,
So
look, I know we didn't do any light language or
no,
pictures,
I
but
mean, this is just flows as it is. You
yeah.
know, we exchanging and sharing stories and you know, updates, and this is important because what's happening with us, it's happening with many that are listening to the show. So
Yeah.
it's perfect.
It is
And
perfect.
we'll reconnect again soon.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. All right. Love you. Love everyone. Bye bye.
We'll be back in 3 or 4 hours.
Okay. Ciao,
Okay.
ciao.